We got breaking news in the CBS Sports HQ this morning with the Minnesota Vikings nearing a deal there to acquire their Adam Thielen from the Carolina Panthers. They have acquired him. That's the latest from our NFL insider Jonathan Jones. A 35-year-old Thielen spent the first 9 years there in the Twin Cities with Minnesota, where he was a two-time Pro Bowler. He'll add some depth, though, when it comes back to his old stomping grounds in that receiver room. With Jordan Addison suspended, will miss the first 3 games. Justin Jefferson has been banged up, along with others there to start the year. And take a look at it. Most seasons with 100-plus receptions, I'd say, in Vikings history. He has one of those, and up there with some of those greats that we have seen in the purple and gold. Want to bring in our NFL insider, Jonathan Jones, and your reaction here. Of course, we talked about this the past couple of days, that this might be an option for the Vikings, but now bringing a familiar face, how does this help them the start of the season?
It's huge, right? Because they have who is ostensibly a rookie in J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, someone that Adam Thielen has gotten to know ever since J.J. McCarthy was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. You know, I actually had an opportunity to speak with Adam Thielen back during Super Bowl week. He spoke very, very highly of the Carolina Panthers, of Bryce Young, and he had obviously spent the last 2 years there with Carolina, being their leading receiver in both 2023 and 2024. But there's always that pull, right, back home. And Adam Thielen from Minnesota spent, as you noted, the better part of a decade there making his name. And so now, look, you can always go back home. And the Carolina Panthers, they're in a much different position with their wide receiver group today than they were last year or 2 years ago. And so while they absolutely needed Adam Thielen's veteran presence within that locker room, certainly when Bryce Young was a rookie and into his second year, they're feeling a lot more comfortable about things now. And so we have been talking the last couple of days, really probably more than a week, that Adam Thielen could return to the Minnesota Vikings. You know, yesterday, right before roster cuts, there was a little bit of a fever pitch. It didn't get done. It didn't have to get done because it was more of a soft deadline than a hard deadline. And so now the two sides finally working out the trade terms that essentially boil down to a future 4th-round selection going to Carolina in exchange for sending Adam Thielen to Minnesota. The Vikings will work out Adam Thielen's contract, sort of revise it there, and that is the deal between the two teams.
So looking at it, of course, here are the details you just mentioned there. The Panthers receiving, as you said, that conditional 2026 7th-round pick, along with that 5th-rounder in 2027. And, of course, the Vikings getting their guy in Adam Thielen. For Thielen, though, JJ, this is the second turnaround, I guess you can say, in terms of working with a young quarterback. We saw that Bryce Young. It didn't quite work out that way. Why might this situation with J.J. McCarthy, of course, going back, be different?
I don't know that it will necessarily be different. It'll be helpful, right? I mean, Bryce Young needed that veteran, that route runner in Adam Thielen. Again, he had 1,000 receiving yards in 2023. Everyone on the wide receiver group, no one really stood out last year for the Carolina Panthers, yet Thielen still led the team in receiving yards last year. And so you have J.J. McCarthy again. There's going to be that immediate camaraderie and bond. Now they have to work at it on the field more than they had, you know, in summer workouts and kind of backyard football, if you will. The Vikings, of course, have aspirations for NFC championships and for Super Bowls, right? I mean, they were able to get those double-digit wins last year with Sam Darnold under center. They're hoping that nothing really changes, that they can reclaim that mantle, if you will, there in the NFC North, of course, going up against the Packers, the Lions, and the Bears. And then you consider this is probably a Vikings team that should be led by its defense, right? I mean, Brian Flores' defense could very well be the top-ranked defense in the NFL this upcoming season. So with Justin Jefferson, who many would argue is the best wide receiver in the NFL, though he's battling injury, you always need someone else. You have Jordan Addison, who is out for the first 3 games of the season due to a suspension that the NFL handed down a few weeks ago. Now you add in Adam Thielen, a sure-handed veteran guy, locker room presence, familiar face, all of those things that can help the Vikings.
We'll see how that pans out there for J.J. McCarthy, the crew, and now Adam Thielen back in Minnesota. Appreciate, as always, the breaking news there with them heading to the Minnesota Vikings. We will see how that pans out for all the teams, including the Vikings, September 7th, because guess what? We are back to action in the NFL. Count on Sundays, where you can watch all those local games on CBS. We'll have you covered HQ. And don't forget, everything is streaming on Paramount+.